Let's go! TYREE ADAMS, are you kidding me? A Friday commitment on the offensive line. I'm going to need your help today, okay? Comment down below. Do you believe this is LSU's best Louisiana pickup thus far in the class? And I have a few things I want to share, not only about TYREE ADAMS, but the offensive line recruiting in general. The first thing, though, is TYREE ADAMS as a prospect is amazing, right? Obviously, 285, he'll put on some weight when he gets to LSU. He is only obviously a rising junior, and he obviously has a lot of talent. And once he puts it all together, this guy is going to be a first-team All-SEC player. I love the turf tape on the back of the arms, Alvin Kamara style. I like seeing the offensive linemen wear skill position gear. It always looks cool. But you know, the bottom line is TYREE ADAMS is an amazing athlete for his size. And the one thing I like when I look at an offensive line prospect, how are you when you are asked to do different things, right? You see some good run blocking reps. You see some good pass blocking reps. You see a motor on him. He loves to finish blocks. All those different things are really, really good. Now, obviously, you could tell I really do like him as a prospect, and you could make a strong case that he is Louisiana's best LSU commitment up to this point. But to have him along with Trey Holly and along with Caleb Jackson in this class, it's just shaping out to be really, really good, because this is something that was brought up in our live stream yesterday. Thanks to one of our smartest viewers, John Sibley Butler. We were talking about recruiting Louisiana. And the one thing about it was we hinted that a lot of commitments are about to start coming LSU's way before the final season of their high school careers. So it's not just TYREE ADAMS. What was that? Did a fly? That's so strange. But anyway, it's not. I honestly thought a fly. I think I just swallowed a fly. It's crazy. It's not just TYREE ADAMS, though. You see, we keep going. We got that TYREE ADAMS motor. It's not just TYREE ADAMS, but it's also Shelton Sampson and Zalance Hurd. I think those are two other high-level four-star prospects. Some services have them as a five-star level player. I think those two guys will also commit to LSU before the season actually begins. But we'll see. Obviously, for me, I like to wait until the actual announcements are made. But the truth is that there was a lot of momentum towards a certain LSU commit happening today. And I am super happy that TYREE ADAMS ended up being that actual player. Now, as far as the overall offensive line class for LSU, it is pretty good up to this point. Look, for me, I see DJ Mbenga, a really talented three-star offensive line prospect out of Buford, Georgia, is already committed. And look, there will be more once Zalance Hurd makes this decision. I think some of you feel as if you want a fourth offensive lineman to be a part of this class, and you would like to eventually land some of these out-of-state elite offensive linemen. But those guys are really tough to get. We saw Chase Basantis ended up going to Texas A&M over LSU. And there are some other ones out there, the Marquis Anderson kid out of South Carolina. But honestly, I do think LSU is still going to be in the running for at least one elite out-of-state offensive line prospect. I would like to think that LSU will end up landing one of them. Now, this is something that we've talked a lot about on PHL live streams and whatnot. I want to show you this play really quickly from TYREE ADAMS, okay? This just looks like your normal block, but sometimes it's hard to add context. And here he's going up against Ashley Williams, a really high-level three-star edge prospect out of Baton Rouge. So not an elite player, at Zachary, but close to Baton Rouge. And here he is going up against a guy that will be at a Power 5 university. And I like seeing a prospect do special things when it's good on good. And this is exactly what he does. He absolutely demolishes him. So you want to see that. Here's Catholic High. Obviously, Catholic High, they have good players every year. You want to see him going up against good competition. And the bottom line is St. Aug, it's the program in New Orleans, right? It's one of the many programs throughout Louisiana that continuously produces really, really good football players. And I think TYREE Adams will follow suit in the long line of really good St. Aug players. Obviously, Leonard Fournette is the most famous example. You also have Ben Jarvis Green Ellis for you throwback fans. He ended up going to Ole Miss. But 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, they put out good players. And something else you got to keep in mind about St. Aug is there's a lot of St. Aug grads on LSU staff, most notably Frank Wilson and Cortez Hankton. So not really a surprise that TYREE Adams ended up going to LSU. It would be a bigger shock if he didn't go, but the bottom line is you got him ready to go, and it's going to be really hard for me to see him go anywhere else. So this is as certain of a commitment as you are going to see. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Right now. Okay, don't worry. I'm not choking. I'm okay. I think. Huh? Let's have a conversation about LSU's class overall and continue our conversation from last night's live stream about Louisiana recruits versus everybody else. Now, a lot of you are correct that LSU's program has been built on the backs of Louisiana players. But the truth is, and I really do mean this, you're not winning national championships unless you have a national recruiting footprint. You can't have one without the other to be a nationally dominant program, because the bottom line is not all Louisiana players want to play at LSU. It's just a harsh reality. Now, a lot of them do, but some players honestly do want to go outside the state. And yes, it is crazy to see that your top 5 rated players in this class, one's from Florida, one's from Maryland, one's from Minnesota, one from California, one from Indiana. It is kind of crazy considering how big that national footprint actually is. And yes, in the past, LSU has had a ton of national players. But something really fascinating is happening in the overall 2023 class, is that the state that actually is producing a lot of the elite players isn't just Louisiana. In fact, it's a state that a lot of you are very familiar with when it comes to recruiting. And that state is Georgia. Now, why is Georgia relevant? Well, they just won a national championship, right? And you would think Georgia would have its state locked down. Now, 2023's crop of Georgia prospects is really, really, really good, even compared to Georgia's normal standards. Now, I'm not a Georgia recruiting expert, so forgive me if I'm totally wrong about that, but it does seem like Georgia's got a lot of really, really good players, and a lot of them are leaving the state of Georgia. In fact, Alabama just picked up 2 really good players. In fact, number 1 and number 2 in the state of Georgia. And they're committing to the school that they just beat in the national championship game. And one of those kids was a Georgia legacy. So it's very interesting how many Georgia players have left the state. Now, why is that important? And why would I bring up the state of Georgia right now? Well, the one out-of-state offensive lineman that is trending the most heavily to LSU is actually from Georgia, and that is DJ Chester out of McDonough, Georgia, and he is a high-level 4-star. You're looking at his recruiting profile right now, and On3 has him as a pretty daggum good chance that he's going to pick LSU. Now, when is he going to commit? I don't know, but let's say that he does. That would give LSU 5 players from the state of Georgia. Now, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Louisiana's still going to dominate this class because I think Kai Prean, I think Shelton Sampson, I think Zalance Hurd will all commit to LSU. Now, a lot can change. There could be some decommitments that could be heading your way before the season actually begins. It always happens with every recruiting class, so if it happens, don't freak out. But the truth here is there's going to be as nearly as many Georgia players in this class as there will be Louisiana players, right? So, it would be roughly 7 Louisiana players and 5 Georgia players if things stay the way that they are now, if the players we expect to commit actually do end up committing to LSU. And Georgia's a pretty good state to actually commit and get recruits from, because they, along with Louisiana, annually per capita, per population, produces the most NFL players. And like a lot of you probably already know, there have been a lot of really good Georgia players at LSU. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Right now, okay? So, you see here, I have a little Patreon bonus for all our patrons. Patreon.com/LSU Football, where you could see an extra little TYREE Adams film study, but in a different type of setting. Him going up against some of the best edge prospects in the state of Louisiana. And you saw a little bit earlier me talking about the Discord chat community, where I, along with a lot of our experts in that Discord community, talk about everything there is about LSU football. So come on over. It's a lot of fun. You know, you don't want to take this stuff too serious, but at the same time, there's a lot of people in there that love LSU football 24/8/366. So we want to see you, for that to make sense, 25/8/366. See, I'm not smooth at all. That's why I need your help. Patreon.com/LSU Football. And there we also talk about the history of LSU offensive line prospects and why getting Zalance Hurd is going to be so big for LSU. And TYREE Adams, Zalance Hurd, along with DJ Mabenga. I'd say DJ Mabenga. I keep DJ Mabenga because, you know, there was a DJ Banga that played for the Lakers. DJ Chester and Paul Mabenga. That would be a pretty good offensive line class for Brad Davis here. So check it out, and we'll see you there. It is Power Hour LSU Bomb. And tonight, we're doing some pasta. Like, it's like a chicken. No, it's not chicken. It's like cheese mac or something like that. Haley got it. It's going to be good. Let's go.